ili waweze kushuhudia uzinduzi huu rasmi, kwani maktaba hii ni ya kuwahudumia hawa washikadau ambao nimewataja. Asante sana. Msafara wa mgeni wetu rasmi, waziri wa mambo ya nje wa India, umefika hapa chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Anawasili, anapokelewa na wenyeji wake kwa mbwembwe na shamra shamra. Anajuzwa wageni ambao na wakuu wengine wa chuo ambao wako tayari na imara kumpokea. Ameweza kuwasili. Asante sana, na tunasema karibu sana mgeni wetu rasmi, ili uweze kuendesha shughuli hii ya leo. Daktari Jaishankar, waziri wa mambo ya nje Jamhuri ya India, amewasili hapa chuoni katika sherehe za ufunguzi wa maktaba ya Mahatma Gandhi. Na mwenyeji wake naibu wa chancellor na naibu kaimu wa chancellor wa masuala ya kiakademia, naona wako pale mbele wanamuelekeza. Ataelekea pale kwenye jengo, kwenye majengo ya Gandhi, ili aweze kutoa heshima zake kwenye ile sanamu na mnara ule wa Mahatma Gandhi. Pamoja naye ni naibu kaimu wa chancellor, mwenyekiti wa baraza la usimamizi wa chuo na wakuu wengine wa hapa chuoni. Anapokea salamu kutoka kwa baadhi ya wale ambao wameweza kufika siku hii ya leo, na anaelekea moja kwa moja nje ya jengo la Gandhi. Lynette.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our honorable guest, Dr. Jaishankar, has arrived, Minister for External Affairs, Republic of India. As you can see, they are walking towards the Gandhi wing to go and give his floral tribute to Mahatma Gandhi statue, after which he's going to take a photo at the Gandhi wing statue, whereby he will also be able to sign in our visitors book at the Gandhi wing. He's also been assisted by our Chancellor, Ms. Dr. Vichu Ratansi, alongside the Council Chair, Professor Julia Ojiambo. We are also having our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama. I'll take you back to the studio.
Asante sana. Kama mlivyoweza kutazama, waziri wa mambo ya nje wa Jamhuri ya India, Daktari Jaishankar, ameweza kutoa heshima zake pale kwenye huo mnara, kwenye ile sanamu ya Mahatma Gandhi. Wanaweka maua, shahada ya maua. Unaona vile ambavyo kuna mapambo na mbwembwe. Ameweza kufanya hivyo pia ni Chancellor wa chuo kikuu cha Nairobi, Daktari Viju Ratansi, pia vivyo hivyo Profesa Julia Ojambo, na naibu wa Chancellor, naibu mkuu wa chuo Profesa Gitai Kiama, wameweza kutoa shahada ya maua pale, washiria tu heshima zao. Sasa wanapata fursa ya kuketi na kuweza kupigwa picha. Picha huwa kawaida, mambo ya makumbusho tu haya. Wanaketi na kupiga picha, na najuzwa kwamba waziri huyu mgeni wetu rasmi ameandamana na waziri mdogo wa masuala ya mambo ya nje hapa nchini, Bwana Ababu na Mwamba yuko pale. Na wakati wowote watakuwa wanaelekea, watakapomaliza kupigwa picha, wataweza kuelekea katika uwanja wa Great Court ili aweze kupanda mti wa ukumbusho, kisha atafika hapa kwenye maktaba ili tuweze kupata hotuba na aweze kuona jinsi ambavyo ufadhili kutoka katika taifa la India umeweza kutumiwa kufanikisha ujenzi upya wa maktaba hii ya uzamili na uzamifu.
Thank you. Okay.
Our honorable guest, Dr. Jaishankar, is outside the Gandhi wing taking a photo together with the other invited guests. As we can see, they are now walking towards signing the visitors' book at the Gandhi wing. Then they can be able to go straight to the Great Walk, to the Great Court, to plant a commemorative tree. Thank you. I'll take you back to Waweru.
Asante sana. Anapata fursa ya kutia sahihi kwenye kitabu cha wageni mgeni wetu rasmi Jaishankar. Anatia sahihi katika kitabu cha wageni. Hii inaashiria tu urafiki na undugu ambao umeweza kuwa kati ya taifa la India na chuo kikuu cha Nairobi. Na ni kwamba tu kama nilivyokujuza awali, mwaka wa 2016 Juni, mwezi sawia na mwezi huu, alikuja hapa chuoni waziri mkuu wa India na akaweza kuanzisha mchakato mzima wa uzinduzi wa ujenzi upya wa maktaba hii ya uzamili na uzamifu. Sasa kwa mwendo wa aste aste wanafuliza na kuelekea moja kwa moja katika uwanja wa Great Court. Haya ni majengo tu ya chuo kikuu cha Nairobi, majengo ambayo unaweza kuyaona pale. Lile ni jengo la Gandhi, na majengo haya unapata kwamba yameitwa majina ya Mahatma Gandhi kwa sababu ya ufadhili unaotokana na wakfu ule wa Gandhi. Umetoa ufadhili mkubwa sana kuhakikisha kwamba chuo kinafaidi na kunufaikia baadhi ya ufadhili ambao unasaidia katika utoaji wa usomi na utafiti ambao unaendeshwa hapa chuoni. Anaelekea moja kwa moja. Naona ana gumzo, anakuwa na mazungumzo ya kina na mwenyeji wake, naibu mkuu wa chuo Profesa Gitai Kiama. Anampa maelezo kuhusiana na labda historia ya chuo na mengi tu kuhusiana na utendakazi na urafiki ambao umeweza kuwa kati ya chuo kikuu cha Nairobi na taifa la India. Anapata fursa ya kupanda mche ama mti nje ya jengo la education, jengo la elimu, ukipenda education building.
Yes.
Na nilivyokujuza awali ni kwamba anapopanda ule mti ni kwamba baadhi ya wageni mashuhuri sana ndio wamepata heshima ama wamepewa heshima ya kuweza kupanda miti katika sehemu teule ya uwanja huo. Na anapopanda mti huo ni kwamba inaashiria pia jinsi ambavyo chuo kikuu cha Nairobi kimekuwa katika mstari wa mbele kuhakikisha kwamba kuna uhifadhi wa mazingira na wa hali ya juu sana. Itakumbuka kwamba chuo kikuu cha Nairobi ndio nyumbani mwa aliyekuwa mpiganiaji wa mambo ya mazingira mkuu Profesa Wangari Maathai. Na ni kwamba tu mazingira hapa yamepewa kipaumbele, na bila shaka ukiwasili katika chuo kikuu cha Nairobi utaweza kushuhudia hilo. Ni mazingira ni ya kuvutia, ni mazingira ya kuvutia na ya kiusomi. Napata fursa pia ya kupanda mche na kupanda mti Chancellor wetu mpendwa Daktari Viju Ratansi. Wale ambao wameweza kufanya hivyo na kupanda mti nikiwataja tu ni pamoja na aliyekuwa waziri mkuu wa Italia Matteo Renzi, aliyekuwa rais wa Marekani Barack Obama, aliyekuwa pia waziri wa sasa kunradhi wa India Narendra Modi alipata fursa ya kupanda mti. Hawa tu ni baadhi ambao wageni mashuhuri tajika ambao wameweza husika katika uhifadhi wa mazingira na kupanda miti katika Great Court, ule uwanja wa Great Court. Ukitazama kwa pembeni kulia mwa jengo hilo kuna miti ambayo nilikujuza awali. Kuna ile miti ambayo inajulikana kama palm, royal palm. Miti hiyo ilipandwa na hayati mzee Jomo Kenyatta wakati chuo kilipokuwa kinaanzishwa. Miti hiyo miwili unaiona sasa, aliyeweza kupanda mti huo ni hayati mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Nikurudishe kwake mwenzangu Linet ili aweze kupa historia ya maktaba wanapojongea kuja hapa ili tuweze kusikiza hotuba ya siku hii ya leo. Asante sana. Ni rasmi sasa, anakata ule utepe mgeni wetu rasmi, waziri wa mambo ya nje Jaishankar anapata fursa ya kukata ule utepe na kufungua rasmi ile bendera katika jiwe hilo. Kuna maneno ambayo yanaashiria kwamba ni rasmi sasa. Maktaba hii ya Mahatma Gandhi, maktaba ya utafiti wa chuo kikuu cha Nairobi, inazinduliwa rasmi.
As we can witness, our guest of honor is now cutting the ribbon for the inauguration. Thank you.
Our chief guest actually has unveiled the commemorative plaque outside the library, and now he's just about to cut the ribbon to come in together with the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, and they are now coming in so that we will be able to listen in to the different speeches. He will take a walk around the library and he will visit the different sections of the library. And the library has a total collection of 23,000 print resources. This is further supported by subscription to electronic database where the library provide access to electronic books and electronic journals. The collection is comprehensive and has India culture and heritage. And the library also supports the following areas: Institute of Development Studies, Population Studies Research Institute, Center for Advanced Studies in Environmental Law and Policy, and at the ground floor, we also have the MBA collection. There is a special collection within the library that has inaugural lectures and citations, biographies, PhD thesis, and the library also offers support services that include one-on-one consultation with research librarians, an elaborate information literacy program on how to access electronic resources, training on electronic resources, that is referencing and citation, print and photocopying services, and the library also trains and sensitizes research on publishing, institutional repository, and other methods of research dissemination. The library offers open reading area on all floors, and this library has seating capacity of over 500 users. The library provides 32 reading carrels that are accessible to students for private studies, a computer lab within with a modern facility, a modern conferencing facility, a lounge area, special area for persons with disability. And remember, the people with disability have a special software, JAWS, that helps them to communicate with the technology they are in, and they are able to access different sets of information that the library avails. The library has also student consulting rooms, It has a very beautiful coffee shop, resource processing room, and the library, the services and operations are supported by a highly professional and experienced human resource. The different ICT installations that are available within the library include an access to the library biometric verification system as you get to the door. That is a whole system, RFDI system that has a biometric verification system that you have to use your fingerprints or thumbprint to come in. It has a CCTV camera surveillance for 24 hours, and the library is connected to Wi-Fi, is enabled. And the library features an electronic self-check kiosk where a student can transact. Actually, there's very little interaction, especially if you want to borrow resources, physical print resources, and there's a computer lab. This also is supported because the library is just not within these walls. The library can be accessed remotely, and from wherever you are, you will be trained on different approaches and different features that you can interact with in the process of accessing the different resources that the library has to offer. Asante sana, tunaendelea na ratiba. Mgeni wetu rasmi ameweza kufika na muda usiokuwa mrefu ataweza kufika katika ukumbi huu ili aweze kupata fursa ya kutoa hotuba yake, kwani ni rasmi sasa Daktari Jaishankar, waziri wa mambo ya nje wa India, ameweza kufungua rasmi na kukata ule utepe maktaba hii ya Mahatma Gandhi. Na ni kwamba tu watakapowasili, pindi tu watakapowasili, tutasimama wote kwa wimbo wa taifa na tutaweza kumpisha mfawidhi wa siku hii ya leo, Profesa Julius Ogengo, ambaye ndio Master of Ceremony. Yeye ndio mfawidhi wa siku hii ya leo ili aweze kuendesha kipindi kama ilivyo rasmi. Nashukuru sana wote ambao wameweza wanaoendelea kufanikisha matangazo haya ya moja kwa moja, na hatuna budi kukushukuru wewe unayefuatilia matangazo haya kupitia mitandao ya kijamii, iwe unaifuatilia kupitia Zoom, ikiwa unafuatilia kupitia YouTube, unafuatilia matangazo haya kupitia katika mitandao ya kijamii ya Twitter ya chuo @UNBI @VCUONBI. Hatuna budi kukushukuru, kwani matangazo haya ya moja kwa moja ni ili uweze kunufaikia na kufuatilia urasimu huu ambao unaendeshwa hapa siku hii ya leo. We really appreciate those who are following us through different social media platforms. This event is covered live in different social media platforms, and we really appreciate for being with us and for following the announcements and the official commissioning of the refurbished Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Library.
Our chief guest for this occasion, the Indian Minister for External Affairs, Dr. Jaishankar, the CAS, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abna Mwamba, the Principal Secretary, Ministry of Education, University Education in particular, Bwana Simon Abwesi, the Chancellor, Dr. Ratansi, the Chair of Council, Professor Julia Ojambo, and members of Council present, members of the Diplomatic Corps present, Management, Senate, student leaders, distinguished guests, ladies, gentlemen, and the media. It's my sincere opportunity to welcome all of you to this official launch of the Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Graduate Library on this day, the 14th of June, 2021. May I now take this opportunity to welcome the Vice Chancellor to deliver his welcoming remarks. Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Professor Julius Ogengo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Academic Affairs. The library falls also under the Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, who is Professor Oshanda, who is here. I want to acknowledge all of you here this afternoon, Dr. Jaishankar, the External Affairs Minister, Republic of India. We are grateful you're here. The representative of the Cabinet Secretary, in charge of Education, Ambassador Nabokwesi, the Indian High Commissioner, Dr. Philanda Paul, Dr. Ababu Namwamba, CAS Foreign Affairs, our own Dr. Fiju Ratansi, the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, and also our Chair of Council, Professor Julio Jambo, all government officials present here, members of the diplomatic community, members of Council, members of University Executive Board, and members of Senate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Jaishankar, Minister for External Republic of India, welcome to the University of Nairobi. During the brief tour that you had just after you arrived here, you probably noted that most of our iconic buildings in this university represents various partnerships we have had with the global community, including India. The history of the University of Nairobi, therefore, is the history of partnership. Permit me to start by conveying our gratitude to the government of India for innovating this library, the Mahatma Gandhi Library, with the donation of the $1 million that was granted to us. We had initially converted the library into a bookstore, which was a diversion from its original purpose. In 2016, when the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, visited Kenya, we agreed to relocate Mahatma Gandhi statue that was then inside the library to the current open space in the Gandhi wing, where the public can interact with it freely. And you visited there as your first stop. We also agreed to refurbish this library with the support of the Indian government and restore it to its original use. The refurbished Mahatma Gandhi Graduate Library is designed to make learning experience more enjoyable and entertaining. The Mahatma Gandhi Library is an ultra-modern library that will provide very high-quality services and resources to the university community, specifically the postgraduate students, those who are doing master's and doctorate levels, as well as academic staff and researchers, and the diplomatic community in Kenya, and as well as the top executives of the public and private enterprises in Kenya are welcome here. The unique features of the library, which you have just seen, include the subscription to over 100,000 peer-reviewed full-text electronic journals and books to support the teaching and learning and research activities at the University of Nairobi. The access is also available to over 50,000 local e-repository of international generated local content and including theses and dissertations. It has a seating capacity of 500. We have 30 study carrels, which are up here, specifically designed to facilitate research and provide a quiet and private atmosphere for serious study for our students. The reading carrels have plug and play internet capability. We are therefore, as a community of the university, very, very, very grateful for this support by the Indian government. We thank the government and the people of India for their generosity to us. This resource is a true representation of our friendship and the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you, and God bless you. Yeah. Okay. It's now my pleasure. It's now my pleasure. I think this program is which one now? Yes, that's why I'm on the wrong page. Okay, yes, I was on the wrong page of the program. Thank you very much. I was wondering. So it is now my distinguished pleasure to welcome our Vice Chancellor, our Chancellor, the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Viju. You don't know. Dr. Viju Ratasi, welcome.
I joke all the time. Our chief guest, Honorable Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. What a lovely name. You'll have to explain to them what it means yourself. Minister for External Affairs, Republic of India. Dr. Babu, as Chief Administrative Secretary, Foreign Affairs, welcome. Ambassador Simon Asquezi, Principal Secretary, Ministry of Education. Mr. Rahul Chabra, India's High Commissioner to Kenya. Members of India's Diplomatic Corps, Professor Julia Ojiambo, Chair of University of Nairobi Council. Professor Stephen Kiama, our very own Vice Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, staff and students of University of Nairobi, all members of council present, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very good afternoon to all of you and a warm welcome to the University of Nairobi. It is a great honor to be your host this afternoon. the visit by Dr. Jaishankar to preside over the inauguration of the refurbished Mahatma Gandhi Graduate Research Library this afternoon is a very, very great honor to the University of Nairobi fraternity. It is a celebration of the illustrious history between our two countries on matters education, and most specifically, a befitting tribute to the great Mahatma Gandhi in this corner of the world. Please allow me to appreciate most sincerely the Indian government for generously supporting the refurbishment of the Gandhi Memorial Library to the tune of US dollars 1 million. Let's clap for them. I'm losing. Thank you. Thank you. Allow me also to thank the Gandhi Memorial Academy Society for perpetuating Gandhi's legacy by supporting countless worthy causes in Kenya. His legacy continues to inspire many scholars around the world, including our very own, like Professor P.L.O. Lumumba and Dr. Kenneth Ombongi, the chairman of Kenya-India Friendship Association, who is here with us today. Welcome. A well-equipped library defines the academic stature of a university. Indeed, reading of books reveals to us a whole new world, transcending all geographical and economic barriers that would otherwise place such places beyond our reach. It is for this reason that the famed Mark Twain observed that a person who won't read has no advantage over a person who can't read. To maintain this advantage, the Royal Technical College of East Africa, now University of Nairobi, early in its existence, incorporated the Gandhi Memorial Academy with a library in it. Therefore, as we commission the Mahatma Gandhi Graduate Research Library, we are also bearing testimony to the foresight of our early founders and celebrating 50 years of friendship and support. As a matter of fact, the Indian High Commission in Kenya has played a pivotal role in ensuring that our strong partnership is maintained. Allow me, therefore, to most sincerely thank the Indian government and the people of India through its High Commissioner to Kenya, Mr. Rahul Chabra, for the continued generosity extended to the University of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, education and cultural cooperation between our nations will continue to cement the ties that tightly bind Kenya and India. Some of you may recall the exodus of young Kenyans to India in search of higher education opportunities during the 1980s. As a result of this cooperation, graduates from India are making very tremendous contribution to our country's development. I wish to encourage the youth to take advantage of the existing opportunities accorded through our strong collaboration and partnership to further their education and build useful careers. India's rapid advancement and expertise in areas of technology and health will continue to provide very valuable opportunities to our people in the days to come. In conclusion, I am cognizant of the vast research potential that a state-of-the-art library provides for a young nation such as ours. Graduate students and academic staff engaged in high-level research will, through the refurbished Mahatma Gandhi Graduate Research Library, have access to world-beating education and research sources. I'm confident that the use of this library will allow all who thirst for advanced knowledge to generate and contribute crucial research evidence required for policy development. In the words of Franklin Roosevelt, friendship among nations, as among individuals, calls for constructive efforts to muster the forces of humanity in order that an atmosphere of close understanding and cooperation may be cultivated. It is my firm conviction that Kenya and India will continue to cultivate the beacons that define our friendship as citizens of the world. May the Almighty God bless the people of India, may He bless the people of Kenya and the University of Nairobi. May the labors of our hands in good time bear fruit in all seasons. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you. May I now invite the Principal Secretary in charge of University Education and Research, Ambassador Nabukwesi, to come and address us. He is representing the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha. Welcome, Ambassador.
The Honorable Minister for External Affairs, Republic of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Dr. Babu Namwamba, the Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, Dr. Viju Ratansi, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of the Republic of India to Kenya, the Chair of the Council, Professor Julia Ojambo, government officials, members of the diplomatic corps, members of the university community, including members of the council, students, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent Professor George Magoha, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, because he was assigned the other duties this morning and was required to be there away from Nairobi. So Your Excellency, I was requested to step in, and I want to request that you allow me to read his speech. And here it goes. Allow me to start by welcoming our chief guest, Dr. Jaishankar, to Kenya. I also welcome you to the University of Nairobi, which I consider as my second home. I was the Vice Chancellor of the university for 10 years. Your Excellency, the library you have come to inaugurate was constructed by the support of the Asian community in Kenya, the Gandhi Memorial Society. The relationship between Kenya and India has been awesomely long. We share long trade ties, including sea trading. Kenya and India continue to enjoy strong bilateral relations that have grown from strength to strength due to the shared history and strategic location on the Indian Ocean, which shared common interest in security, especially the maritime security. In the post-independence period, India opened its gates to many Kenyans who were thirsty for higher education and could not secure placement locally because we had only one university then, the University of Nairobi. To date, many Kenyans still go to acquire their higher education in India. Kenya and India have remained good partners and maintained their good relationship. Likewise, citizens both of India and Kenya have engaged in various partnerships to make progress in their life. The government of India, through the embassy in Nairobi, provides annual scholarships to more than 400 Kenyan students to study in universities in India. As the minister in charge of education in Kenya, allow me also to thank your government for supporting the revival and modernization of the Rivertex in Eldoret at Moi University, using credit of US dollars 30 million to do the refurbishment. That is one of our flagship projects for the realization of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta's Big Four agenda through manufacturing. The support from the Indian government is a mark of true friendship. One of the greatest legacies of India to Kenya is the hard-working migrant population. There is a significant population of industrious Kenyans of Indian origin who continue to play a big role in our economy and in our national development. There are over 60 major Indian companies that have invested in various sectors, including manufacturing, real estate, pharmaceuticals, telecommunication, IT, banking, and agro-based industries. The Indian investments have resulted in the creation of thousands of direct jobs for Kenyans. On health, we are grateful that many Kenyans seek specialized treatment in India because it is affordable. Your Excellency, Mr. Minister, we request you to support Kenya in negotiations with the pharmaceutical companies under WTO, TRIPS safeguards to make essential drugs affordable and accessible to the poor citizens of Kenya, because Indian pharmaceutical companies have a substantial presence in Kenya. At international level, Kenya and India have continued to pursue policies that promote global peace and security. You may recall recently, Kenya put up a strong campaign that saw us secure the rotational seat of non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. On behalf of the government and the people of Kenya, we want to extend our sincere gratitude to the Republic of India for their support to Kenya's successful campaign for the United Nations seat in the Security Council. Finally, Your Excellency, sir, ladies and gentlemen, you may recall as well that during the first phase of the COVID-19 crisis, the government of India donated thousands of doses of AstraZeneca vaccines to Kenya as a show of friendship to help citizens of Kenya to get vaccinated. With the crisis in India getting out of hand in the third wave, Kenya also decided to express solidarity in a unique way. The country handed over 12 tons of Kenyan tea, coffee and groundnuts to frontline workers who are helping COVID-19 patients. Our relationship, therefore, is strong, and we cannot exhaust the list of examples that illustrate our immensely positive relationship. It is therefore now my pleasure to invite the representative of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Dr. Babu Namwamba, Cabinet Chief Administrative Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, to make his remarks and invite you to officially inaugurate the library. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, PS. Now it is Mahatma Gandhi himself who famously said, if you think education is expensive, then try ignorance. And it is so appropriate then that today we gather here to celebrate perhaps the best manifestation of that statement: investment in empowering education. And as we do so, it is really a very special honor, a privilege from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the government of the Republic of Kenya generally to welcome Your Excellency, Dr. Jaishankar, Minister of External Affairs of India, to preside over this very special occasion. Let me also, in that same vein, acknowledge the leadership of this amazing institution of higher learning, my alma mater, Your Excellency. I feel very much at home because I'm back home. It is in these great halls, especially this Gandhi wing, that I grew the wings to fly across the globe. And therefore, I want to acknowledge the leadership of this great institution. I want to acknowledge you, the Chancellor, Dr. Vayura Tansi. I want to acknowledge you, Professor Kiama, the Vice Chancellor of the university. I acknowledge Madam Professor Julia Ojambo, my very good friend and mentor in many ways, who is the chair of the University Council. I also want to acknowledge the ministry that is really responsible for education through my good friend and brother, Ambassador Simon Abukwesi, who is the Principal Secretary responsible for higher education. Let me also acknowledge our officers that are driving our diplomatic relations, and in that spirit, I acknowledge Ambassador Dr. Viranda Paul, High Commissioner of India in Kenya. Dr. Ratansi, I noticed you mentioned, you mentioned our immediate former brother, who was a brilliant representative of India in Kenya. But now we have High Commissioner Viranda Paul doing an amazing job to continue that momentum. Yes. Dr. Viranda Paul, maybe you want to rise so that we can acknowledge you, our High Commissioner of India in Kenya. And sitting right next to him is his counterpart in New Delhi, Kenya's High Commissioner to India, our brother Willie Bett. These two gentlemen bear the responsibility of advancing and ensuring that the ties that bind our two countries, Kenya and India, are advanced. And as you know, Kenya and India are tied at the hip. We share so much in common, and therefore to celebrate this kind of occasion is just a continuation of that history, of that culture, of that tradition of us moving together forward. I don't want to say too many things other than to say that education plays such a powerful role, such an important role in advancing societies, in bringing the world together. Indeed, again, to quote Mahatma Gandhi, he says education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. And there's no better way, there's no better place to prepare than to sit in a library in the pursuit of knowledge. And Nelson Mandela would later on fall with another famous statement that the most powerful weapon of changing the world, of transforming societies, of transforming the communities we live in is education. And so it is my singular honor and pleasure, on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Madam Ambassador Rachel Omamo, to welcome you, Minister, and now ask you with respect to address this distinguished gathering. Karibu sana, Your Excellency.
Honorable Ababu Namwamba, Chief Administrative Secretary, Foreign Affairs, Principal Secretary, Education, Chancellor Dr. Viju Ratansi, Vice Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama, Professor Julia Ojambo, the two High Commissioners, and even Ambassador Rahul Chabra, because he's actually the Principal Secretary dealing with Africa, who encouraged us to be here. So you intuitively got it right. Students, distinguished guests, academics, friends. It's really a great pleasure to join you today on the occasion of the renovated Mahatma Gandhi Library at the University of Nairobi. As someone who spent a long time in universities, I can tell you it's always good to come back to a university, any university. You feel better for it. Now, 5 years ago, I had the honor of accompanying Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his state visit to Kenya in July 2016. On that occasion, he, if you remember, delivered a special lecture to a large gathering of students at this university, and in fact mentioned the motto of the university, Unitat et Labor, work hard and in unity. He declared that the fruits of your labor will be yours as you march towards your destiny, and you will find India a trusted and reliable friend. Today, as the renovation of the library stands completed, and generation of Kenyan students will find it useful in their quest for knowledge, I can say that we have delivered on that promise. And I must thank all those in Kenya, all those in India, in the high commissions, in the ministries, in the university most of all, who have made that possible. But this is not just a moment for self-congratulation. It's also perhaps a time to reflect on the larger significance of the relationship between India and Kenya. As you all know, India's association with this university goes back decades, and the very memory of Mahatma Gandhi was meant to underline our strong solidarity. It also reminds us of the Kenyans with Indian heritage who have contributed so much to this university's growth and success. In the decades that have passed, this sentiment has not diminished. On the contrary, it has taken the form of practical South-South cooperation, of which this project is one small example. Now, there are numerous other activities that involve human resources and nurturing talent that stand as testimony to our deep bonds. In education and capacity building, as you have heard from the other speakers, since the 1960s, Indian universities have hosted many young Kenyans who have risen to important positions in various fields. Every year, the Government of India offers more than 400 scholarships to Kenyans. Even during the pandemic, we continue to maintain this relationship virtually through activities like the e-ITech course. And one recent example of that was what we did with the Kenyan Postal Department officers. Another example is the collaboration between the Indian Oil Corporation and the University of Nairobi in building key competencies in refinery process and technologies through online courses. Now, these illustrations should evoke a discussion of how we wish to refashion our ties for contemporary times. I believe that the core continues to be the solidarity forged by our shared struggle last century. But they must also take into account the new challenges that have emerged since. First and foremost in that context is our thinking on globalization. There is no doubt that the world today is much more interlinked, much more interdependent. But it should not be that globalization apply only to resources and markets, while production centers remain concentrated in the hands of a few. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought home the dangers of relying on limited geographies. When supply chains were disrupted and demand outstripped supply, the more vulnerable will inevitably get shortchanged. Africa cannot afford to see that continue. And this goes against the very spirit of South-South cooperation. The direct lesson from the pandemic is the need today, the pressing need, I would say, for decentralized globalization. Our sense of security has also undergone a radical change. We now perceive health and food security as far more intrinsic to national security. This makes a compelling case for enhancing capacities in Africa. And that would only happen when partnerships genuinely aimed at Africa's welfare deliver more extensively on development projects. Indeed, development itself will only unfold when it is based on deeper capacities. We have seen the powerful example, the powerful impact of collaborations that can make this happen. Earlier this afternoon, when I had the honor to call on President Uhuru Kenyatta, he shared with me how the Rivertex project in Eldoret has profoundly transformed the entire community. So today, I want to tell you all that the rise of modern Africa is not just a noble sentiment. It is a long-awaited expectation. I would even say it is a profound calculation. It is only when this continent of more than 1 billion people takes its rightful place that the full diversity of our planet will find proper expression. It is then that we can justifiably declare that the world is truly multipolar. Decisions made by the international community will be really global only when Africa's voice is adequately heard. And that must happen, most of all, by reform in leading bodies like the UN Security Council, where today India and Kenya have seats as non-permanent members for two years. Both as a solidarity and as a strategy, India stands with Africa. Within our capacities, we have partnered with as much, I would say, a large heart as with an open mind. Your priorities guide our initiatives. We have faced the challenges of the world together. We are doing it even today, and we see that particularly when it comes to public health. Indeed, another of Prime Minister Modi's commitments during that memorable visit to provide anti-TB and anti-HIV drugs was implemented as effectively as this project has been today. And there is so much more that can be done and must be done, especially in a world that is recovering from the COVID pandemic. My visit has, I hope, contributed to a new agenda of cooperation that I believe is now in the making. This is shaped by the vision that Prime Minister Modi and President Kenyatta have of the relationship. I had the opportunity to discuss it in deep detail with my Kenyan counterpart, C.S. Omamo, and with several other cabinet secretaries who deal with key aspects of our shared agenda. In 1956, the statue of Mahatma Gandhi, which I had the honor to place flowers at, was unveiled at this very university. 6 decades later, the modernization of this library is a reminder of what brings us together. Let me therefore conclude by underlining that it is only by greater international cooperation and stronger capacities that result from it that we can, in the Mahatma's words, bring about the change we seek. India and Kenya have the opportunity to demonstrate that their partnership can make a difference. As they say here, let us work hard and in unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our chief guest, Dr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Minister for India, for addressing us. It's now my humble duty to invite the Chair of the University of Nairobi Council, Professor Julia Ojiambo, to come and give the vote of thanks. Welcome, Professor Ojiambo.
Our chief guest, Dr. Jaishankar, Minister for External Affairs, India, Chief Administrative Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Babna Mwamba, my friend as well, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, Ambassador Navakwesi, Your Excellency, the Commission for High Commission for India, Dr. Veranda Paul, and our Kenya Ambassador to India, most welcome. Thank you for good work. Job done. Our own Chancellor, Dr. Vijay Ratans, we appreciate your work here. Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Kiama, my colleagues, members of the Council of the University of Nairobi, members of the commissioning team for this occasion, and I'm sure I can't go through the list of names, they're all here, members of this university community, student leadership, ladies and gentlemen. This library that we have commissioned today is a part, as we have already heard, of the large history of the University of Nairobi, and also a testament of the long-standing relationship between the people of Kenya and India, dating back to the Royal Technical College in 1956. And I'm proud to say that I was there at the unveiling of the Gandhi. And I was the first student to step foot on the compound on that morning, save for one student who was ahead of me and was a daughter of the gentleman who had constructed this wing. So I'm proud owner of the history, and I'm very proud of this moment. On that morning of April 1956. As a university, we are indeed fortunate that we have a space to serve our graduate community, a library that is modern, we're very grateful, and spacious, accommodating needs for one-on-one meetings with the supervisors, seminars, and even a cup of coffee as we have seen the facilities, while discussing and engaging. The benefits of this commission project are threefold. One is the space. Two, the material and equipment. And three, the partnership expanded between not only the university but our nations. Our next step as the Council of the University of Nairobi is a commitment to continue working to ensure that staff and students have access to the needed space, materials, equipment, and all that it takes, so that their minds can soar to greater intellectual levels. It is in this spirit that I acknowledge the active participation, the very stimulating and instructive exchange of ideas we have had and shared through the remarks that have been made by our chief guest and honorable guests here, including the Minister for Education speech. We are very grateful. I trust that you'll take home further inspiration on how to foster the necessary collaboration and partnerships. We here certainly will remain with lasting memories of this day. Ladies and gentlemen, as we end today's event, I would like to thank you all for joining us during the commissioning ceremony. Your presence today shows a strong commitment to our partnership and support to the university's quest for academic excellence. In particular, I acknowledge the chief guest, whose presence assures us that the relations between the Republic of India and the Republic of Kenya is continuing to grow, and that greater interactions will be witnessed in the future. Sharing of experience, expertise, and interventions for further equipping of this great library. Allow me, in my closing remarks, to sincerely thank the following: the Minister for Education, through you, Principal Secretary, Ambassador, I request, through your presence, assures us that the government is a proud partner in the university's mandate. Dr. Vijay Ratans, Chancellor of the University of Nairobi, for your continued philanthropic underwriting of the university's needs. We appreciate. I cannot forget the members of the University Council and the management of this institution for your continued support to the university and for facilitating and managing the project to commission this library. To the Indian High Commission, whose past and present ambassadors who have been there before you have given immense support to the growth of this university library. We continue to thank you, and we look forward to continue working with you as we reach your government at home through our ambassador. I just want to say thank you to all of us, and may God bless you as you leave this place. Take back our very warm wishes to our communities behind. God bless.
Yes, we are coming to the end of the program. Our chief guest, I would now wish to ask you
with your permission, to arise to receive some presents from the Chancellor of the University. Yes. Yes.
And therefore, to conclude with thanksgiving, may we remain upstanding for the closing Indian and Kenyan anthem. Thank you very much, everybody. Go in peace, labor in unity.
Asante sana. Kwa wale ambao walikuwa wanafuatilia matangazo haya moja kwa moja kupitia mitandao mbalimbali, tumefikia tamati wa taratibu ya siku hii ya leo. Hatuna budi kuwashukuru wote kwa kuweza kujumuika nasi kupitia mitandao ya kijamii. Tunasema asante sana. Hadi wakati mwingine, tunatakia kila laheri na mkaweze kuwa na wakati mwema na wakati mzuri, na muendelee kuitumia maktaba ambayo sasa